For this video, I had some little burlap and glittery pumpkins that I've had for a long time, and it's really not my style anymore. So I used men's ties to recover them and just some of my crafting scraps. So this isn't really a totally unique idea. Lots of people have been doing things like this, but this is my take on it, and I hope that you enjoy it. Out with the burlap, out with the glitter, in with the funky vintage men's ties. I'm using men's ties that I thrifted from the thrift store, paid like 99 cents a piece for it, bought some coordinating colors, and I'm gonna cut those and use those to recover these pumpkins that I've had for a long time. They don't fit my decor or my style, so I'm gonna update them and make them look funky and vintage and with a really cool color scheme. The ties are really easy to cut apart. They actually have this lining in the middle. It stiffens the tie and it helps it hold its shape. And there's one seam that goes right up the middle that you just have to either use scissors or a seam ripper to go up. And then you can cut it in whatever length. I knew I wasn't using the wide end. I could keep that for something else. I used the skinny end and just like opened it up and used that. So I cut about 4 pieces for each pumpkin in different fabrics. And then I have some recycled sari yarn, some wire. I thought about using this orange yarn. I did use a little bit of it, but not as much as I thought I would. But just this is one of those like scrap basket projects. You can use whatever you've got. Old jeans or old sweaters I've seen people use. It looks really cute. But I just am inspired by men's ties. I love the patterns and the colors, and I always want to do something with them. So this was the project that I chose to do with them. So there you see one covered there. I just love it. It's super vintage and weird. It's just like that patchwork look to it. And the sari silk yarn I've had for a while, but you can get it various places and various kinds. But it has just a continuous run of multicolors, which worked really well for me with this project. But use what you have. And this I'm just using to wrap around and accent those ridges that pumpkins have to make them, more obvious. And I'm using hot glue for this. It's the easiest thing to do. I took a piece of wire, just like a jewelry wire. I think it might have been like 20 gauge, maybe, I don't know. Use whatever kind of wire you have. And I just glued the yarn around it. And I'm going to use that to make the little curly viney things that are on the top of the pumpkins. So I just wrap the yarn around that, glue it on there. And then I glue that on the pumpkin. And then I take the little stem that was on there. I had cut the bottom spike off. And then I just glued that on top. And then any kind of round object, a pen or anything, but I was using this like knitting needle or crochet needle for the hot glue so I wasn't burning my finger. So that's what I used to curl these. And then I just curled it up. Came out adorable and funky looking and patchwork. Boho, dare I say. There you go. A couple of those. And then for this style I did a little bit different. I used wire for the curly cues, but I got that covered. And now I'm going to use wire. If you have craft wire, use it. I mean, it's kind of a pain to work with, but I just wrapped it around each. I left a tail at the top, and then I used that to twist so that it would stay. And that made it easier. And then I just wrapped it around each thing about 3 times just to really accent and give it shape. And that's what I'm doing here. And each time I went around the top, I just kind of twisted it a little bit with that top little tail. Okay, and then I twisted it just to secure it, and I'm pushing down just to really like emphasize that shape of the pumpkin. And I'm using the yarn as a base for the little stem. So I'm just gluing that on, and this kind of yarn just, the ends just kind of pull away. So that was actually really easy and convenient. And then I just took the little top, put it on there, and then I twist the wire. And then this is a little bit of a different style one, but they all kind of go together. And that's like the beauty of using your scrap fabric or your scrap crafting supplies. You could always add little embellishments, like if you had some vintage jewelry or beads, you could glue some on there. Just do whatever you want with it. These fit my style so much better than the burlap ones did, and I got to use that crafting material that I've always wanted to use, which is men's ties. And here they are just on display and with some of my fall decor already. I chose kind of more muted, like blues and golds and greens and yellows, and you can go with whatever colors you want. And here they are on display on my coffee table in an old student pottery piece maybe. I just thought this was a cool dish. That's the cool thing about thrifting, is you end up with these like one of a kind creative pieces that nobody else has. And these pumpkins actually remind me of something that you could find in Pier 1 back in the 90s. Like, that's the vibe that they're giving me, which is probably why I like them so much. But I hope that this inspires you to remake some of your own decorations using either your scraps, your crafting supplies, or, thinking outside the box using some thrifted or upcycled products. I had a blast making Halloween decor out of thrifted vintage finds and using up some of my scraps that I had laying around and some of my crafting supplies. I hope that this inspires you to create something similar for yourself. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content. I hope that you have a safe, healthy, happy, and spooky Halloween.